Ladies and gentlemen, change is not something that happens to you, it is something you create. It is not an event, it is a process, a decision, a way of being. And right now, at this moment, you stand at the threshold of transformation. For years, you have lived within the boundaries of your past experiences, repeating the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and reacting to the world in the same predictable ways. Your body has memorized these habits, and your mind has been conditioned by them. But let me ask you, how can you create a new future if you keep living in the past? Change begins when we recognize that we have been living on autopilot, repeating the same patterns day after day. Most people wake up every morning, check their phones, think about their problems, feel the same emotions as yesterday, and follow the same routine. They don't realize that by doing so, they are reaffirming the same personality, reinforcing the same identity, and essentially living in the past. But if we want a new future, we must break the habit of being ourselves. Our identity is a collection of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that we have memorized over time. From childhood, we are conditioned by our experiences, our upbringing, and the environment around us. We develop beliefs about who we are and what is possible for us based on these influences. Every time we react in the same way, make the same choices, and feel the same emotions, we strengthen the neural pathways that keep us stuck in familiar patterns. And because these patterns are so deeply ingrained, we begin to mistake them for our true selves. Consider this. If you wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about your problems, you are recalling memories from the past. Those memories trigger familiar emotions, perhaps stress, anxiety, or frustration. Those emotions influence your thoughts, which then dictate your actions throughout the day. By the end of the day, nothing has changed because your body and mind are simply reliving yesterday. This cycle repeats over and over, keeping you trapped in a predictable future that looks exactly like your past. Now, if we want real change, we must start by becoming conscious of these unconscious patterns. We must begin to observe our thoughts and behaviors instead of automatically acting on them. The moment you become aware of a habit, you create a space between the stimulus and your response, and in that space lies the power to choose differently. Awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle. But awareness alone is not enough. We must also unlearn the emotional addictions we have built over time. Many people are unconsciously addicted to the emotions of stress, anger, guilt, or sadness. Even though these emotions don't serve them, they feel familiar, and the body craves what is familiar. This is why change feels uncomfortable, because stepping into the unknown means stepping away from the emotions and behaviors that have defined us for so long. Breaking the habit of being yourself requires intentional effort. It starts with making new choices. If you always respond with frustration, try responding with patience. If you always avoid challenges, face them with courage. If you always dwell on what's wrong, start focusing on what's possible. Every small decision to act in a new way rewires your brain and reconditions your body. One of the most powerful ways to create change is through visualization. The brain does not know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you mentally rehearse a new way of being, you activate the same neural circuits as if you were actually living it. Over time, your mind and body begin to align with this new version of yourself, making it easier to embody change in your daily life. In addition to visualization, daily meditation can help interrupt the habitual programs running in the subconscious mind. When you take time each day to sit in stillness, observe your thoughts without attachment, and refocus your energy, you weaken the influence of old patterns. You shift from being a reactive participant in your life to a conscious creator of your future. Change also requires a shift in emotions. If your habitual state is based on survival emotions like fear, worry, or resentment, your energy remains contracted. But when you cultivate elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, and inspiration, your energy expands. Your emotional state sends a signal to your body that something new is happening. And when you can sustain these elevated emotions independent of external circumstances, you are no longer waiting for change, you are initiating it. This process takes commitment. The mind will try to pull you back into old patterns. The body will resist. The world around you may not immediately reflect your internal transformation. But if you persist, if you keep making new choices, thinking new thoughts, and feeling new emotions, you will begin to see evidence of change in your life. The truth is, you are not defined by your past. You are defined by the potential of your future. But to step into that future, you must break free from the identity that no longer serves you. You must be willing to release the old version of yourself and embrace the unknown, because only in the unknown can you create something truly new. And so the question is not whether change is possible, it is whether you are willing to become conscious, step beyond your comfort zone, and commit to the person you are meant to be. The moment you decide to break the habit of being yourself, your future begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. Your mind and body are in a constant state of communication. Every thought you think sends a chemical signal to your body, creating a feeling or an emotion. In turn, that emotion reinforces the thought, creating a cycle that defines your reality. If you have been living in a familiar state of stress, anxiety, fear, or doubt for years, your body has memorized those emotional states as your norm. It has become so accustomed to those feelings that even when you consciously decide to change, it pulls you back into old habits as if on autopilot. This is because your body does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. If you repeatedly think the same thoughts of limitation or failure, your brain fires in the same patterns, reinforcing the same neural networks. Your body responds by producing the same chemical reactions, leading to the same emotion. Over time, your identity becomes anchored in these repetitive cycles. You no longer need to consciously think about feeling stressed or unworthy. Your body has already memorized those states and will seek to reproduce them, even if they no longer serve you. Now, here's the challenge. If you are thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and acting in the same way every day, how can you expect your life to change? The reality you experience is a reflection of your inner state. If you want to create something new, you must begin by rewiring the mind and body to operate differently. The first step to true change is awareness. You must become conscious of the thoughts you are thinking and the emotions you are repeatedly experiencing. Most people live in a state of unconscious reaction, allowing their past experiences to dictate their present and future. But when you start observing your thoughts without immediately identifying with them, you take back control. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. Once you become aware of the automatic programs running in your mind, the next step is to interrupt them. Every time you catch yourself thinking a limiting thought or feeling a familiar, unwanted emotion, you have a choice. Do you continue down that well-worn path, or do you stop and shift your focus? Neuroscience tells us that the brain is highly malleable. When you stop reinforcing old neural pathways and begin creating new ones, your brain adapts. It starts breaking down the old redundant connections and wiring in new possibilities. But this is not just a mental process, it is a physiological one. Your body has been conditioned to follow the mind's lead, so if you want real transformation, you must teach your body to emotionally experience your desired future before it is manifested. Instead of waiting for something outside of you to change so that you can feel different, you must generate the feeling within you first. Let's take an example. If you want to create abundance, you cannot continue to think thoughts of lack and scarcity. You cannot wake up every day reinforcing the belief that there is never enough and expect your external world to reflect something different. You must train yourself to feel abundant before the evidence appears. When you consistently cultivate the feeling of abundance through visualization, meditation, or simply shifting your emotional state, you are teaching your body what it feels like to be abundant. Your brain begins firing in new patterns, your chemistry changes, and suddenly you are no longer waiting for your reality to shift. You have already shifted internally. This is the process of reprogramming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not respond to words, it responds to emotions and repetition. The more you emotionally invest in the feelings of your future self, the more your body believes that future is happening now. And since the brain and body do not distinguish between an actual experience and a vividly imagined one, you are, in effect, conditioning yourself for a new reality. Many people approach change backwards. They wait for a new job, a new relationship, or a new opportunity to appear before they feel happy, confident, or successful. But that approach keeps you trapped in the same cycle. Instead, you must become the person who already has what you desire before it physically arrives. When you think greater than your current circumstances, when you feel greater than your current reality, and when you act in alignment with your future self, you signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. At first, this process may feel unnatural because you are breaking free from years, perhaps even decades of habitual thinking and emotional conditioning. But the more you practice stepping into your future self, the easier it becomes. New neural pathways strengthen, new emotional states become familiar, and soon you begin attracting experiences that match your new internal state. This is not magic, it is science. It is a natural result of rewiring the mind and body to operate in harmony with your desired reality. Change is not something that happens to you, it is something you actively create by shifting your inner world first. When you commit to this process, transformation is inevitable. The science of possibility reveals that you are not bound by your past, and this understanding is rooted in both neuroscience and quantum physics. For the longest time, people believed that their brains were fixed, that their personalities, habits, and ways of thinking were hardwired. But modern research has proven that the brain is malleable, capable of change at any moment. This concept is called neuroplasticity. Your neural networks, the connections between brain cells, are constantly being shaped by your thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This means that who you are today is simply a reflection of past patterns, not a permanent identity. Think about it. If you repeatedly think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and behave in the same ways, your brain strengthens those neural connections. Over time, these patterns become automatic, functioning like a program running in the background of your life. You wake up each morning and follow the same routine, thinking about the same problems, feeling the same stress, and reacting in the same ways. The more you repeat this, the more ingrained it becomes, and soon, your past has completely dictated your future. You might believe that you are making conscious choices, but in reality, your brain and body are operating from subconscious programming. Now, here's where the science of possibility comes in. If your brain can be wired through repetition, then it can also be rewired through intention. If your body has memorized stress, anxiety, and limitations, then it can also be trained to memorize joy, abundance, and empowerment. You are not a victim of your biology, you are the creator of it. The key is to disrupt the old patterns and introduce new ones by consciously choosing different thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Quantum physics further supports this idea by showing that the world is not as solid and predictable as we once believed. Instead of a fixed reality, we are living in a field of infinite possibilities. At the quantum level, everything exists as pure potential, waiting for observation to bring it into reality. This means that your future is not predetermined, it is being shaped by your focus and attention. When you continuously think and feel in a certain way, you collapse the quantum field into a specific outcome. In other words, your energy influences the reality you experience. If you wake up every day expecting things to be difficult, focusing on problems and feeling frustration, you are reinforcing the same patterns that create more of the same experiences. But if you can shift your focus, if you can start thinking greater than your circumstances, feeling the emotions of a future you desire and acting as if it has already happened, then you are signaling to the quantum field that a new reality must take shape. This is not wishful thinking, this is science. Experiments have shown that when a person mentally rehearses an action, their brain begins to rewire as if they had physically performed it. Studies on athletes, musicians, and even patients recovering from injuries prove that thoughts alone can physically change the brain. If this is true, then why not use this principle to reshape your future? Why not train your mind and body to expect the best, to feel elevated emotions, and to move into a reality where anything is possible? The challenge most people face is that they are waiting for external proof before they believe in change. They think, when my circumstances improve, then I'll feel better. Or when I achieve success, then I'll feel confident. But this is living backward. The brain and body must experience the emotion of change before the change arrives. You must feel gratitude before the abundance appears. You must feel empowered before the opportunity arises. You must embody love before the right relationship comes into your life. This shift requires breaking free from the addiction to familiar emotions. Emotions like fear, doubt, and unworthiness that have kept you in the same cycles. Your body might resist because it craves the comfort of the known, but the moment you override that resistance and step into a new way of thinking and feeling, you are creating new neural pathways. You are signaling to your biology that a new reality is taking shape. This is the science of possibility. You are not limited by your past, your genes, or your environment. You are limited only by your beliefs. And the moment you change those beliefs, your brain, your body, and your entire life must follow. Imagine for a moment that you are no longer tethered to your past, no longer reacting to life based on your history, no longer replaying old emotions, no longer defining yourself by past limitations. Instead, picture yourself already living as the person you desire to become. Feel the emotions of success, of love, of freedom, of abundance, before any external circumstances have changed. This is the key to true transformation. You must think, feel, and act as your future self before your reality catches up. Most people live their lives waiting for something external to change before they allow themselves to feel different. They say, when I get the promotion, I'll feel successful. When I find the right relationship, I'll feel love. When I have enough money, I'll feel abundant. But this is living in the past. It is operating from a program that says your external world must dictate your internal state. And as long as you are waiting, you are reinforcing the same neural pathways, the same emotional patterns, and the same predictable future. Science tells us that the brain does not know the difference between an experience that is happening in reality and one that is vividly imagined with full emotional intensity. If you close your eyes and truly experience a new reality in your mind, if you can feel it as if it has already happened, you are physically rewiring your brain to reflect that new future. You are signaling new genes in new ways, teaching your body emotionally what the future feels like before it arrives. And when your thoughts and emotions align with this new possibility, your body believes it is already living that reality. This is where most people struggle. They are conditioned to their familiar emotions. If they have spent years feeling unworthy, anxious, or stuck, those emotions have become their baseline, their comfort zone, even if they don't like it. The body becomes addicted to the chemistry of the past, and when they try to change, their old self fights to stay in control. But here is the secret. You are not your past. You are your potential. The only thing keeping you from the life you desire is your attachment to an outdated version of yourself. If you truly want to change, you must start by thinking greater than your environment. You must override the old emotional patterns and rehearse the new future until it becomes your new normal. So how do you do this? By consistently embodying the feelings of your future. Every day you must wake up and tune into the emotions of the person you are becoming. If you want to be abundant, don't wait for money to arrive. Feel abundant now. If you want to be confident, don't wait for external validation. Embody confidence now. The moment you shift internally, the energy you broadcast to the world changes. And when your energy shifts, your reality has no choice but to reflect that shift back to you. This is not wishful thinking, this is neuroscience. This is how the brain and body operate. If you can maintain a clear vision of your future and pair it with elevated emotions, joy, gratitude, love, you create a coherent signal that draws that future toward you. You become a magnet for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that match the person you are being. The greatest challenge in this process is consistency. The old self will try to pull you back into familiar emotions and reactions. Your environment may tempt you to return to the predictable past. But every time you override those impulses and choose to embody your future self, you are breaking the habit of being the old you. You are creating new neural connections, strengthening new circuits, and teaching your body to trust a new way of being. At first, it may feel unnatural. Your body may resist, but over time, just as you trained yourself into old habits, you will train yourself into new ones. And eventually, living in alignment with your future self will become effortless. So ask yourself, who do you want to become? What does that version of you think, feel, and do? How do they move through the world? What energy do they radiate? And most importantly, are you willing to start being that person today? Because if you are, your future is not something you need to chase. It is something you are already living. And when you embody that reality with every thought, every emotion, and every action, the world must reorganize itself to match your new state of being. The change is already happening. The only question is, are you ready to step into it? True change requires something most people fear, the unknown. You see, your brain is designed to predict outcomes based on past experiences. It takes the data of your life, the memories you've accumulated, and creates a model of reality. This is why, when faced with something new, most people retreat to what is familiar. The familiar feels safe. It feels certain. But if you always choose what is familiar, you will always create the same life. Think about it. Every single day you wake up and follow a routine. You think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, engage in the same habits, and interact with the same people in the same way. Your brain fires in the same sequences. Your body responds with the same chemistry. And the external world reflects those patterns back to you. And so your life becomes predictable, not because you are bound by fate, but because you have conditioned yourself into repetition. But here's the challenge. If you want to change your life, you cannot continue to live in the past. And yet this is exactly what most people do. They allow their familiar emotions, whether it be stress, fear, doubt, or unworthiness, to dictate their future. They think that change must first happen on the outside before they can feel different on the inside. They wait for the new job to feel successful, the new relationship to feel loved, the improved health to feel whole. But this is backwards. Real transformation does not come from the outside outside in, it comes from the inside out. If you truly want to change, you must break free from the cycle of your familiar past. You must teach your body and mind how to feel, think, and act as if your desired future has already arrived. This is not just positive thinking. This is a biological, neurological, and energetic process. Your brain does not distinguish between an actual experience and a vividly imagined one. When you intentionally embody the feelings of your future self, confidence, joy, abundance, gratitude, you begin to rewire your brain. You send new signals to your body, shifting its chemistry. You change your energy field, attracting different opportunities, people, and circumstances. But this is where most people hesitate. The unknown is uncomfortable. The old identity wants to pull you back. Your body, conditioned by years of the same emotions, will crave the past. It will tell you that stepping into the unknown is dangerous. Your mind will flood you with doubts. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? These thoughts are not truth. They are merely a reflection of old programming trying to keep you in a predictable pattern. So what do? You move forward anyway. You become conscious of the old emotions, but you do not let them control you. You recognize the pull of the past, but you choose to step beyond it. You no longer wait for change to happen to you. You become change itself. The moment you start making different choices, thinking new thoughts, feeling new emotions, taking new actions, you step into the unknown, and this is where magic happens. This is where new opportunities arise, where synchronicities unfold, where reality shifts to meet the new version of you. But here's the catch. You must persist. Change is not instant. It is not always easy. There will be moments when your old self tries to reclaim control, when fear and doubt whisper that it's safer to go back to what you know. But if you can stay committed, if you can trust the process and keep aligning with your future self, you will reach a point where the unfamiliar becomes familiar, the unknown becomes known, the new identity becomes natural. And when that happens, you are no longer forcing change, you have become it. You are no longer waiting for life to give you permission to feel different. You have chosen to be different. And the moment you embody this truth, the world around you will begin to reflect it back to you. So the question is, are you willing to let go of who you have been to become who you are meant to be? Are you ready to stop living in the past and start creating your future? Because the unknown is not your enemy, it is your greatest opportunity. And the moment you step into it with faith, you will discover that the life you have been waiting for has been waiting for you all along. The truth is, change is not something that happens by chance. It is something you consciously create. You are not a prisoner of your past unless you choose to be. The moment you decide to think beyond your familiar patterns, feel emotions greater than your circumstances, and take actions aligned with your future, you initiate transformation. Yes, the unknown is uncomfortable. Yes, the mind and body will resist, but the life you desire exists beyond the limits of who you have been. The question is, are you willing to break free? Are you willing to step into the unknown, to trust the process, and to embody the future before it arrives? Because the moment you do, life will begin to shift. Opportunities will present themselves. Doors will open. Reality will rearrange to match your new energy. You won't need to chase change. You will become change. Now is the time. This is your moment. The future is waiting for you to step into it.